to provide evidence about how Marilyn Manson has sexually assaulted them.
Been very open too about your struggles and what you've been going through.
I'm sorry the way that I look.
Did you know that some of the greatest celebrities of all time have lost everything they built? From fame, fortune, and the love of their fans to falling into the abyss. How is it possible that these shining icons ended up with nothing? Today, we'll explore the shocking stories of 15 celebrities who had it all, until they lost it all. From poor financial decisions to media scandals, get ready to discover how the lives of these famous figures changed radically. You'll be surprised by what happened behind the scenes. Number 15. Marilyn Manson. From controversy to a dramatic fall. Marilyn Manson, the man who made controversy his personal brand, reached the peak of alternative rock with his provocative style and shocking image. However, what began as an audacious and rebellious career soon spiraled into a series of scandals that led to his ruin. Starting in 1989 with the band Marilyn Manson and the Spooky Kids, Manson always sought attention. His name, a mix of Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson, suggested that his style would be unconventional. With Antichrist Superstar, 1996, Manson achieved fame, challenging norms with lyrics that tackled dark, nihilistic themes. His music and stage presence were disturbing, making him an icon of counterculture, but also the target of numerous criticisms, especially from Christian and conservative groups. In addition to his musical success, Manson ventured into film, painting, and literature, becoming a multifaceted figure. However, by the 2000s, things began to unravel. His albums no longer had the same impact, and his personal life suffered with a painful divorce from Dieter Von Teese and a breakup with Evan Rachel Wood. In 2021, chaos reached its peak when Wood and several other women accused him of physical and emotional abuse. Although Manson denied the allegations, the fallout was devastating. His record label, agency, and manager abandoned him, and he was fired from various TV and film projects. Legal battles followed, and his career collapsed. Marilyn Manson's story is a reminder of how controversies can be both an advantage and a curse, and how fame, when built on controversy, can turn against you unpredictably. Number 14. Dionne Warwick. From musical glory to bankruptcy. Dionne Warwick, one of the most legendary voices in music, had a successful career, but her story is also marked by the downfall in which poor financial management played a crucial role. How did a singer who sold over 100 million records end up bankrupt? Dionne Warwick, with her iconic voice and collaborations with Burt Bacharach and Hal David, left an indelible musical legacy. Songs like Walk On By and I Say a Little Prayer remain classics. Over 5 decades, Warwick became one of the most important artists of her time. Additionally, her philanthropic work as a goodwill ambassador for the FAO highlighted her humanitarian side. However, despite her success, the singer faced a financial crisis in the 80s and 90s. Her manager mismanaged her finances, and unpaid taxes snowballed over time. Fines and interest made her debt to the IRS unsustainable. In 2013, Warwick declared bankruptcy with only $1,000 in cash and limited assets. Despite the difficult situation, she saw herself as a victim of mismanagement, viewing bankruptcy as an opportunity to start over. With the determination that defined her, Warwick continued to work on her music and projects, always trying to recover from her losses. Number 13. MC Hammer, the rise and fall of the biggest rapper of his time. MC Hammer, known for his iconic song You Can't Touch This and his distinctive baggy pants, was the biggest rapper of the late 80s and early 90s. His fame and fortune were immense, but his story is also one of a dramatic downfall. MC Hammer reached the top of the hip-hop world with his successful album Please Hammer, Don't Hurt 'Em, 1990, which sold over 10 million copies and made him the first rapper to achieve Diamond Album status. His fame solidified with songs like You Can't Touch This, which played everywhere, and his unique style of dancing and dressing. At the height of his success, Hammer lived like a billionaire, spending on mansions, luxury cars, and an extravagant lifestyle. He was a marketing innovator, expanding his empire into entertainment with investments in TV shows and other business projects. However, in the 90s, the music scene began to change, and Hammer's more commercial rap style was no longer what the public wanted. He tried to reinvent himself as a gangster rapper, but this transition was unsuccessful. As his fame waned, so did his fortune. Hammer, who had spent enormous amounts of money on his staff and lifestyle, ended up filing for bankruptcy in 1996, with debts exceeding $13 million. He had to sell his assets, lay off staff, and even sever ties with some friends and family. However, MC Hammer didn't give up. Over the years, he kept making music and eventually diversified his efforts into projects like Hammer Time, his own reality show, and collaborations with artists like PSY and Tupac. Today, he maintains his faith and continues his ministerial work, having found new purpose in his life after his financial difficulties. Number 12. Britney Spears, the pop princess and her battle for freedom. Britney Spears, the pop star who dominated the 90s and 2000s, experienced a meteoric rise, followed by a dramatic fall that turned into one of the most tragic stories in pop culture. How did she go from being the princess of pop to a symbol of the fight for personal autonomy? Britney Spears burst onto the world stage in 1999 with her hit Baby One More Time, a song that catapulted her to global fame. Her success was immediate, with over 10 million copies sold in the US alone. The girl who sang about broken hearts quickly became a global phenomenon, releasing more hits like Oops, I Did It Again, and Toxic. In addition to her music, she ventured into acting and TV, even serving as a judge on The X Factor. However, fame has a price. After her separation from Kevin Federline and the loss of custody of her children, Britney went through episodes that made her the center of tabloids. Her infamous head shaving and umbrella attack were just a few moments that defined her life outside the stage. In 2008, her life took a darker turn when a court imposed a conservatorship under which her father and others controlled her career, money, and personal decisions. Despite continuing to work and release music, Britney lived a restricted existence, unable to make basic decisions like marrying or seeing her children without permission. It was in 2021, through a shocking court testimony, that Britney finally revealed her suffering and desire for freedom. The #Free Britney movement, supported by fans and celebrities, gained strength, and in November 2021, a judge ended the conservatorship after 13 years. Britney, finally free, resurfaced as a symbol of resilience against systemic abuse and media oppression. Number 11. Mike Tyson, the fallen champion who reinvented himself. Mike Tyson, one of the most feared and successful boxers of all time, reached the peak of the sport only to fall into a spiral of self-destruction. From being the youngest champion in history to declaring bankruptcy, how did a man who earned $300 million end up losing it all? Mike Tyson, known for his ferocity in the ring and powerful punch, made history by becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history at the age of 20. His meteoric rise was dizzying, breaking records and unifying the WBC, WBA, and IBF world titles. Tyson earned the respect and fear of all, defeating legendary figures like Larry Holmes and Michael Spinks. However, outside the ring, his life was marked by personal, legal, and financial troubles. In 1992, Tyson was convicted of rape and spent 3 years in prison, a devastating blow to his career and public image. After his release, he tried to reclaim his place at the top, but soon faced new challenges, such as his defeat by Evander Holyfield, during which he became globally famous for biting his ear during the rematch. Despite earning around $300 million throughout his career, Tyson fell into a spiral of poor decisions, including his gambling habits, luxurious lifestyle, and legal issues. By the late 90s and early 2000s, Tyson found himself bankrupt, owing millions to the IRS and other creditors. Tragedy also touched his personal life, with the tragic death of his daughter Exodus in a domestic accident in 2009. However, Tyson didn't let his past define him. Instead of sinking into his pain, he began to reinvent himself. He appeared in films, TV shows, and podcasts, sharing his story of redemption. He adopted veganism, became spiritual, and started participating in the cannabis business, where he found a new purpose. Tyson became an example of how personal overcoming is possible, even when adversities seem insurmountable. Number 10. Wesley Snipes, the actor who lost his freedom. Wesley Snipes, known for his iconic role as Blade, was one of the most acclaimed actors of the 90s, but a tax scandal nearly ended his career. How did a successful actor lose it all because of a tax mistake and manage to rebuild his life? Wesley Snipes rose to prominence in the 90s with films like New Jack City and Blade, a franchise that cemented him as an action movie icon. He also won awards such as the Volpe Cup at the Venice Film Festival. However, his life took an unexpected turn when the IRS accused him of tax evasion. Between 1999 and 2004, Snipes earned $37 million, yet failed to pay taxes. He attempted various strategies to evade the law, even claiming that he wasn't required to pay taxes. In 2008, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison for tax evasion. The sentence was a heavy blow to his career and reputation. He spent 3 years in prison, losing everything he had worked for. But despite the difficulties, Snipes learned valuable life lessons during his incarceration. After his release in 2013, Snipes returned to acting with films like The Expendables 3 and Coming to America, and even began producing his own projects. His comeback was a testament to his resilience and ability to overcome adversity. Number 9. Stephen Baldwin, the youngest Baldwin brother who couldn't stay in the spotlight. Sometimes being part of a famous family can be both a blessing and a curse. Stephen Baldwin, the younger brother of well-known Alec and William Baldwin, seemed to have it all to become a solo star. But his career took an unexpected turn. Stephen Baldwin began his career in film with standout roles, such as in The Usual Suspects, 1995, a thriller that received critical acclaim and several awards. However, by the 2000s, his career began to decline. Instead of continuing with leading roles, he found himself in low-budget films and reality TV shows like Celebrity Mole and I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Bad decisions weren't limited to his on-screen roles. Stephen faced serious financial troubles, such as bankruptcy and lawsuits for tax evasion. His life was also marked by drug addiction and a radical change in his philosophy when he embraced Christianity in 2001, which helped him overcome his addiction. Despite these struggles, Stephen found stability in his personal life, marrying graphic designer Kenya Dihigado and raising 2 daughters. Stephen Baldwin's story is a testament to how personal problems and bad decisions can derail a promising career in Hollywood. Though he has faced many challenges, Stephen continues to be a part of the entertainment world, but his rise to fame is no longer as bright as it once was. Number 8. Aaron Carter, a talent lost too soon. Aaron Carter was the pop prodigy, but his life was marked by tragedy. From a promising start to a sad end, his story is a reminder of how the pressures of fame can be devastating. Aaron Carter began his music career at the age of 9, quickly rising to fame with hits like I Want Candy, Aaron's Party, and Come Get It. He was the teen star dominating the pop scene of the late 90s and early 2000s, and his popularity spread beyond music, with appearances on shows like Lizzie McGuire and Seventh Heaven. However, as he grew older, the pressures of fame began to affect him deeply. In 2017, Aaron publicly revealed his sexual orientation, a brave step in his personal life. Despite his honesty, problems didn't stop. He struggled with substance abuse, mental health issues, and strained family relationships, especially with his brother Nick Carter, which worsened his life. Additionally, constant media attention deeply affected him, and his career never regained the success of his early years. Despite attempts to revive his career and stay relevant in the music world, Aaron was unable to overcome his personal and financial problems. In 2021, he was expecting the arrival of his child, but his life was in turmoil. Tragically, on November 5th, 2022, Aaron was found dead in his bathtub at home. The cause of death was an accidental drug overdose, and his final album, Blacklisted, was released just 2 days after his passing, leaving a profound sense of loss among his fans and the music industry. Number 7. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, who could never escape his own legacy. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was one of the most influential figures in the history of music. But despite his global success and legendary status, his life was marked by scandals and a series of questionable decisions that tarnished his legacy. Michael Jackson began his career as part of the Jackson 5, but it was his album Thriller, 1982, that catapulted him to global fame. With over 66 million copies sold, Thriller remains the best-selling album of all time. In addition to his music, Jackson revolutionized the industry with his iconic dance moves like the moonwalk and his groundbreaking music videos. Throughout his career, he won 13 Grammy Awards, and his influence was undeniable. However, toward the end of his life, Michael Jackson's story became riddled with controversy. He faced several child molestation accusations that, although never resulting in a conviction, cast a dark shadow over his public image. His appearance drastically changed due to plastic surgeries, and his health began to deteriorate due to an addiction to prescription drugs. Furthermore, Jackson accumulated over $400 million in debt, much of it related to his extravagant lifestyle and the legal costs of his trials. In 2009, as he was preparing for a comeback with the This Is It tour, his life ended abruptly due to a drug overdose, and his doctor was convicted of involuntary manslaughter. Michael Jackson's death shocked the world, and while his music remains a lasting legacy, his life was marred by tragedies and scandals that overshadowed his brilliant career. Number 6. Fantasia Barrino, Overcoming Adversity and Finding Redemption. Fantasia Barrino became famous as the winner of American Idol, but her story is much more than a television victory. From adversity and personal struggles to professional success, Fantasia's life is a true story of overcoming challenges. Fantasia Barrino rose to fame in 2004 when she won the 3rd season of American Idol. Her stunning voice and honesty about her difficult life made her a fan favorite, and her debut single, I Believe, became a hit, making her the 2nd woman in music history to debut at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. However, her path to fame wasn't easy. Fantasia had a rough start. She became pregnant at 16 and dropped out of high school after facing a severe assault. Fantasia's personal life was marked by numerous difficulties, including legal battles over child support and lawsuits from a former manager. Despite these challenges, Fantasia overcame many obstacles and in 2011 won a Grammy for her album Back to Me. But personal problems persisted. In 2010, she became embroiled in a controversial relationship with a married man, which led to a lawsuit from the man's wife, accusing Fantasia of breaking up their marriage. The media pressure and the stress from the lawsuits pushed her to the brink of emotional collapse, and at one point, Fantasia even attempted suicide. Fortunately, with the support of her fans and family, Fantasia overcame this dark period. In 2015, she resolved her complicated legal case, and her personal life improved significantly when she found love, with businessman Kendall Taylor. Together, they have 2 children, and Fantasia launched her own record label, Rock Soul Inc. Although her financial troubles continued and some of her concerts were cancelled due to health issues, Fantasia never lost hope. In 2023, Fantasia returned to the spotlight with a leading role in the film adaptation of The Color Purple, marking a milestone in her career. The star continues to fight for her career, her well-being, and to inspire others going through hardships. Number 5. Kanye West, from musical genius to public collapse. Kanye West, a name that needs little introduction, was once the undisputed king of rap and fashion. But as his career progressed, his controversial opinions, erratic decisions, and personal struggles began to affect him irreversibly. Kanye burst onto the music scene with his acclaimed album The College Dropout in 2004, and quickly solidified himself as one of the most influential artists of his generation. His Yeezy brand was also a massive success, with shoes flying off the shelves and million-dollar deals with brands like Adidas. However, as his career advanced, his behavior began to destabilize his public image. His controversial remarks, such as his support for Donald Trump and his public statement that slavery was a choice, cost him several major contracts, including his lucrative deal with Adidas. Kanye's downfall was not just financial. His mental health issues, including his struggle with bipolar disorder and his tumultuous relationship with Kim Kardashian, culminated in their divorce in 2022. His fortune, once reaching $1.5 billion, plummeted to less than $400 million, and his music, once innovative, was criticized for lacking coherence and originality in his recent releases. Kanye West is the perfect example of how erratic behavior and lack of self-control can destroy a career that seemed unstoppable. Despite the ups and downs, he remains an influential figure, though his public image has been severely damaged. Number 4. Lindsay Lohan, the star who went from shining to falling. Lindsay Lohan, one of the biggest stars of her generation, had a career full of ups and downs. From being Disney's child prodigy to facing media scandals, her life was as intense as the movies she starred in. But how did she go from being the most promising star to facing the toughest difficulties and finally making a comeback? Lindsay Lohan began her career very young. At 3 years old, she was already modeling and starring in commercials for brands like Pizza Hut and Wendy's. However, her big break came when Disney chose her for the lead role in The Parent Trap, 1998, a remake that catapulted her career. From there, her status as a teen star was cemented with Freaky Friday, 2003, and Mean Girls, 2004, a film that became a cult classic and secured her place in Hollywood's firmament. She was not only a successful actress, but also ventured into music, releasing 2 albums that sold over 4 million copies worldwide. However, as the 2000s progressed, Lindsay's star began to fade. Fame brought more than just professional success. Constant media pressure and personal issues started to affect her. Arrests, stints in rehab, lawsuits, and scandals surrounded her name. Her reputation began to collapse, and her acting career came to a sudden halt. As her bank accounts emptied and her life became more complicated, Lindsay decided to make a radical change. She moved to Europe, got into the beach club business in Greece, and even tried her luck with a reality TV show on MTV. However, the biggest shift came with Oprah Winfrey's intervention. The media queen offered her a docuseries, which not only revitalized her career, but also gave her a chance to rebuild her life. By 2022, Lindsay had found new love with businessman Bader Seamus, who also split his time between Dubai and Los Angeles. With renewed energy, Lindsay signed a contract with Netflix for several projects, and her return to film began with the romantic comedy Falling for Christmas, available on the platform. Although the journey wasn't easy, her ability to reinvent herself and seek new opportunities gave her a fresh professional and personal breath. Number 3. Armie Hammer, from millionaire heir to a staggering fall. Armie Hammer, known for his roles in The Social Network and Call Me by Your Name, seemed to have it all: fame, talent, and a family with a history of wealth. But 2021 brought with it a dark twist that shook not only his career, but also his personal life. Armie was born into a wealthy family, with his great-grandfather being an oil magnate, and over the years he managed to make a name for himself in Hollywood. However, in 2021, his world came crashing down. He was accused of abuse, emotional manipulation, and cannibalistic fantasies after explicit conversations were exposed on social media. The accusations were further extended by testimonies from several women who accused him of manipulative and abusive behavior while he denied all allegations. The impact of these scandals was immediate. Armie was dropped from several film projects, and his agency and publicist also severed ties with him. Additionally, his 10-year marriage to Elizabeth Chambers ended, adding to a series of personal events that destroyed his public reputation. Despite being exonerated from the abuse accusations due to lack of evidence, Armie chose to enter rehabilitation in 2021 to address his drug addiction. Although he seems to be on the road to recovery, his life will never be the same after these events. Armie Hammer's fall is a reminder of how fragile fame is and how a personal decision can destroy a career built over years. While he is trying to rebuild his life, his public reputation remains a controversial subject. Number 2. Antoine Walker, from NBA star to bankruptcy. Antoine Walker, a standout NBA player with a career full of accomplishments, became an example of how an extravagant lifestyle and poor financial management can lead to ruin. How did a man who earned over $100 million lose it all? Antoine Walker, known for his time with the Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, and Dallas Mavericks, was a standout talent in the NBA. During his professional career, he earned 3 NBA All-Star selections and won a championship with the Heat in 2006. His skill on the court allowed him to earn over $108 million in salaries, in addition to millions more from endorsement deals. However, basketball wasn't the only thing that attracted Walker. Luxury was too. Expensive cars, impressive houses, and dazzling jewelry were just a few of the elements of his lavish lifestyle. Unfortunately, Walker's lifestyle, though brilliant at the time, was not sustainable. His lack of foresight for life after basketball, combined with poor financial decisions, began to take its toll. He invested in high-risk real estate and spent large sums of money on gambling. When the Great Recession of 2008 hit, many of his investments failed, and he found himself in a financial crisis. By 2010, Walker owed over $20 million and faced criminal charges for writing bad checks. In the same year, Walker filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which allowed him to erase some of his debts, but also led him to lose most of his assets. Despite this devastating blow, Walker didn't give up. Instead of sinking into despair, he transformed his experience into a valuable lesson, dedicating himself to educating other athletes about the importance of financial education. Today, Walker works as a financial literacy consultant, guiding young athletes to learn how to live within their means, invest wisely, and avoid falling into the same mistakes he made. Antoine Walker's story highlights how overconfidence, combined with a lack of financial education and the temptation of luxury, can deplete a fortune. But it also shows that resilience and the desire for redemption can turn failure into an opportunity for growth and learning. Number 1. Ellen DeGeneres, from comedy icon to controversial star. Ellen DeGeneres, comedian and television host, has been a major figure in American entertainment for decades. From her beginnings as a humorist to her explosive success with The Ellen DeGeneres Show, her life has been marked both by achievements and the controversies that surrounded her. Throughout her career, Ellen has faced criticism and adversity, but she has also left an indelible mark on television and popular culture. Ellen DeGeneres began her career in the 80s as a stand-up comedian, struggling to break into a male-dominated world. In 1986, her big opportunity came when she was invited to The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, a pivotal moment that marked the start of her rising career. From there, she made her way into television, and in 1994, she got her own comedy show, Ellen, a series that would become a fundamental part of her legacy. It was during this show in 1997 that Ellen took one of the boldest and most significant steps of her career. She publicly came out as a lesbian, both in the series and on the cover of Time. This courageous act, however, was not well received by everyone, and the show was cancelled after 5 seasons. Despite this setback, Ellen did not let herself be defeated. Years later, in 2003, she launched The Ellen DeGeneres Show, a talk show that quickly became a massive success. Ellen won the public's affection with her unique style, her friendly humor, entertaining interviews, and sketches that made her seem more like a friend than a host. The star not only dominated the mornings, but also became known for hosting major award shows, such as the Golden Globes and the Oscars, and for voicing the character of Dory in Finding Nemo, 2003, which made her an icon for all ages. In addition to her work in television, Ellen gained public admiration for her activism. She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2016, an honor bestowed by President Barack Obama, in recognition of her impact on society and her work promoting LGBTQ+ rights. However, in 2020, Ellen's shine began to fade. That year, several former employees of the show accused the producers of creating a toxic work environment, citing misbehavior, harassment, and racism. The controversy erupted, and Warner Media launched an internal investigation that resulted in the firing of 3 of the show's top producers. Ellen publicly faced the storm, and in an episode of her show, she apologized to the audience, acknowledging that she wasn't fully aware of the bad practices behind the scenes. Despite the apology, the show's ratings plummeted, and her public image took a serious hit. In 2021, Ellen shocked everyone by announcing that The Ellen DeGeneres Show would be ending after 19 seasons. While she insisted that the decision to end the show was not linked to the scandal, she did admit that the events of the past few years had taken an emotional toll on her. And so we conclude this review of stories full of ups and downs. Fame, though brilliant, can be a roller coaster, but what really matters is the ability to learn, reinvent oneself, and move forward. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.